If you feel weak core activation and some lower back tension when you perform dead bugs, here's the first fix. Tuck your pelvis so it's truly parallel to your rib cage and maintain that tuck as you extend the leg. There's a second piece that's even more important, and it's something almost everyone gets wrong without realizing it. Let me show you what I mean. So dead bugs are an anti-extension exercise, meaning the goal is to resist the spine extending as you extend the leg and draw it back. To achieve that, we need two things. We need to make sure that the rib cage and the pelvis are truly parallel, and we need to create deep core activation by generating intra-abdominal pressure. We do that by breathing in through the nose and expanding the abdomen outwards like this. When we do that, we get 360 activation of the core, and the spine is very resistant to bending. If, however, we breathe out, we get superficial abs drawing in. That's very weak core activation, and the spine is far less resistant to bending. And here's how that plays out in a dead bug and why it matters. So, if I'm in this position and I extend the leg and breathe out, I am weakening the core when the exercise is getting harder. There's a huge demand on these muscles here to anchor the pelvis and prevent it tilting forward. Very hard to do, especially if we breathe out. If we flip the breathing round the other way, breathing in as we extend the leg, we get an increase in intra-abdominal pressure, and that means we're much more likely to be successful. That is why we should feel it mostly here with no low back tension, when for a lot of people it's the opposite. They breathe out, they get a bit of a tilt forward, we crank on the lower back, and we feel weak engagement here. So there's more to a successful dead bug than that, and now I'll walk you through it step by step. Start by laying on your back, like so. Lift the knees so they're stacked directly above your hips. And we want the heels slightly higher than the backs of the knees and the toes pulled towards the shins. From here, we want to make sure that the floor of the mouth, the rib cage, and the pelvis are like three parallel lines. So we want to tuck the chin, we want to think ribs down, and this is the real key point that's often missed. We need to tuck the pelvis like so it's truly connected to the rib cage. So right now, I feel pressure through the top of my pelvis around the sacrum. If I tuck my pelvis, that pressure shifts to the lower back. We want pressure through the lower back, okay? And in this position, suddenly, you're going to feel these lower abs working just to hold that position before we've even started. The cue I like to give here is imagine reading a belt buckle, and you can use your hands to facilitate that action like so. Again, you should feel this. From here, slightly push the abdomen outwards to achieve that barrel shape and get some light activation. Reach the arms up with the fingertips splayed like so, and we are ready for the execution. So from this position, I'm going to reach through the right heel and the left fingertips overhead simultaneously. As I do this, I'm going to breathe in strongly through the nose, direct that pressure down towards the pelvis and down into the floor, and then breathe out on the return. And repeat on the other side. Now, you might not see that, but I'm shaking because it's a really challenging exercise if you do not lose the pelvis even 1 degree. Again, if you maintain that pressure truly through the low back, it is a very challenging exercise. So as I'm doing that reach, I'm breathing strongly through the nose and directing the pressure down, as I said, not up here or I will lift. And I'm also thinking about maintaining that tucked position as I do the reach. Okay, so now we've gone through that, you might run into some common mistakes, and we'll address those now. First common mistake is having the neck extended like so. Now, you might struggle to get here, and if that's the case, then use something like this or a rolled up towel under your neck so that you can get that alignment. That's really important for your breathing and for getting the rest of the spine nicely aligned. Next common mistake during the setup in an attempt to flatten the back is to just pull the knees towards the chest. Now this does not influence the pelvis. This is hip flexion, this is pelvic flexion, okay? And this is that first point we talked about. We need to get pressure off the pelvis. This is like a relaxed position, you're not going to feel anything. And we've got to tuck and lift that pelvis so that the low back has pressure and we're truly connected. So the cue I like to give is to imagine like you're reading a belt buckle. Okay, we need that pelvic control. And you can also use the hands to facilitate this. So turn the hands this way and then roll them this way. And it really helps you to feel that pelvis truly tucking so we get the pressure just where we want it. That is key so that we're going to be successful when we do our dead bug. Final common mistake. See if you can spot the difference between this rep and this rep. In that first rep, the pelvis was anchored. It did not move even 1 degree this way. In the second rep, the pelvis started to tilt. Now, you might not even barely have seen that, but I can tell you I felt a huge difference. In that second rep, I could feel my lower back starting to lift off the ground. I could feel less core here and starting to feel the muscles around my spine as they're extending. So if the pelvis tilts forward, you essentially lost the battle, right? The spine went into extension. It means that it was too challenging for our current level of core strength and stability. What do you do if that's the case? We can simply regress the exercise. And I want to make a very important point. This alternating arm-leg dead bug is a very challenging core exercise. It's not basic and simple. It's like doing perfect pull-ups. And so everyone needs to start at a simpler level and build up to this. So let me show you how to do that next. There's your regression. So instead of doing a straight leg heel reach, you're doing a bent knee heel tap. By keeping the foot closer to your center of mass, there's less demand on the core to resist this occurring. And you want to get really strong and confident at that before you progressively straighten that leg. I'm going to leave you with 3 quick tips. Number 1, learn to generate intra-abdominal pressure. This is an outward pushing force, 360 degrees against your abdomen. That is the foundation of core stability, and it's a skill that you have to learn. And I have a video with lead instructor of DNS, Dr. Richard Olm, that explains exactly how to do this. I'll link it below. Number 2, regress to progress. The standard dead bug is an advanced exercise, despite the fact that people think it's simple. It's really important that we start with the more simple version and master that before we progress. Again, a lot of people think harder means more core. It's actually the opposite. You're going to get less core, more lower back. So it doesn't do you any favors. Everyone needs to regress, master the more simple variation, and then progress from there. And lastly, don't forget to include other important core patterns in your training. So this is an anti-extension exercise. We also have flexion exercises. We have anti-lateral flexion and lateral flexion. We have anti-rotation and rotation. This is all important to develop a well-rounded core and resilient lower back. I hope that video gets you really excited about dead bugs and core training. If you'd like a program to follow that integrates well-balanced core training into your strength workouts, look no further than my Rebuild Training app. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one.